Okay, I admit it. Predicting Oxford to beat Sunderland 4-0, I may have got that one a tad wrong. But Sunderland fans, I gotta say, you guys are bloody amazing. Not only was your side fantastic at the weekend, but you as fans, thank you so much for supporting the review video I did of this game. You guys and gals, along with those brothers and sisters in yellow and blue, made this the most viewed video I've ever had on YouTube. So thank you so much for the support that you gave me on this video. I very much appreciate it. I am picking my way through the comments. I'm terribly slow with it. I will get to it in time. And you're probably going to be expecting me now to back Sunderland in every game for the rest of the season, but you don't want that. You really don't want that. And I am going to explain as I get to the Sunderland part of the video. So just be a little bit patient because we have got to do predictions for week 13 in this championship season. Using the tried and tested that'll do method, I will get you through this weekend's round of games. But don't worry, the rule is still intact, as much as it pains me to say it.
Say the line, Bart!
Oxford always win. And we really could do with a win this weekend. I really hope that we get it. But let's jump in to this round of predictions. And we start on Friday night at Kenilworth Road, and Luton fans must be on the floor, flat as pancakes. What a horror show of a week for you guys. You played well against Sunderland, you didn't get anything. You played well against Coventry, and you blew it from a 2-0 lead. I know what it's like to lose in the last seconds to Coventry, though, so that is a painful defeat for you guys. But it doesn't get any easier. West Brom, very good side to come to Kenilworth Road on that Friday night. But it's a West Brom side very much struggling to score goals. Rock solid at the back, don't give you anything, but just can't put the ball in the back of the bloody net. So very, very frustrated. Two sets of fans are very frustrated. Two sets of fans very much need a win. It's kind of got 0-0 written all over it, hasn't it? But I'm going to fancy the Baggies, boing, boing, to get a victory here on Friday night. I think it's going to be a good start to the weekend for West Brom. I'm going for Luton 0, West Brom 1. On to Saturday's games, and we have Blackburn Rovers versus Sheffield United. Look, first of all, Sheffield United, what a great win for you guys, and a very emotional tribute that you had to George Baldock. Well done to everybody for that service, and well done to the players. It was a very emotional and moving day, but it was an important win off the back of 2 defeats, and I think you're going to go into this one, and I think you're going to get the job done at Ewood Park. Blackburn don't lose many games at Ewood Park. It's not going to be easy, and they're coming off the back of a 1-0 defeat in a kind of a nothing game at Vicarage Road that they just came out the wrong side of it. And I think they're going to come out the wrong side of this one as well. It really could go either way, this one, because Blackburn a very solid side at home. But I'm going to be backing the Blades, back-to-back wins for them, and I'm going to go for Blackburn Rovers 1, Sheffield United 2. Oxford United versus Swansea City, undoubtedly the game of the weekend. I am sure you will all agree. My beloved Oxford United are licking their wounds after what happened at the Stadium of Light. Very much outclassed, put in our place really, and very much a reality check to the golfing class in the Championship. And when we've been on a run of draws like we had been on, but those are bookended by 2 defeats, it makes it 7 games without a win. And Oxford really need to get that winning feeling back. And maybe they're coming up against the perfect opposition in Luke Williams' Swansea side, who cannot score goals for love nor money. So that obviously makes you worried from an Oxford point of view. But they've struggled. I think they haven't scored a goal in the whole of October. So let's see what November brings for the Swans. But you'd have to think, Oxford, this is a great opportunity to get back to winning ways against the side that are struggling themselves. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be exciting. And I think it's going to be a very narrow win. And of course, I'm going for a narrow win to Oxford United. We haven't had a penalty all season, and we're due 13 games. We're surely due one, and I think we're going to get one, and it's going to lead to a victory. Oxford United 1, Swansea City 0. Stoke City versus Derby County. Look, it's another one of those games where you're just dominated by home form versus away form here. And whilst Derby have had a couple of decent away results recently, picking up a couple of draws. They did get another draw at home, so they're going through their own spate of draws at the moment. I just feel they're going to come out on the wrong side of this one. Stoke didn't put up a good performance at Sheffield United, and again, that's indicative of them probably being better at home than they are away. And I feel that this is a game they'll have earmarked for a victory. And again, I don't think there's going to be too much between the two sides, but I just think Stoke are going to edge it, and I'm going to go for a narrow win for the Potters. I'm going to go for Stoke City 2, Derby County 1. Cardiff City versus Norwich City, and Cardiff City just continue to impress, really, don't they, since they've sacked their manager, brought the new guy in, and they've looked rock solid, picking up points all over the shop. Impressive 0-0 draw against the Baggies away. That's kind of given teams a blueprint of how you get the job done against West Brom, isn't it? You just kind of seem to sit behind the ball, and they don't seem to be able to break you down. But good rearguard action, and definitely a point gained for the Bluebirds in that one. Norwich coming off the back of a crazy game against Middlesbrough. Goals, red cards, own goals, missed penalties, everything happened in that game. It ended up 3-3, just proving that Norwich are the great entertainers in this league. But the thing is about Norwich, though, they just don't seem to be winning a lot of games. A lot of these games seem to be ending up in draws, and I think this one's going to be another draw for Norwich City, which is probably going to be frustrating. Borgia Sainz, though, is looking red hot. I'm going to go for 1-1 here. Cardiff City 1, Norwich 1. Hull City versus Portsmouth, and wow, Portsmouth fans, what is happening? What is going on? It's another defeat on that Friday night. It was an amazing goal that did end up getting the victory for Sheffield Wednesday, but it's another defeat for John Mousinho's men. And life has been really tough for you so far this season, and it's not getting any easier with the trip to Hull on Saturday. But I do need Pompey to soften up the Tigers before they head to the Kassam after this game. I'm just going to be thinking of a home win in this one. I do feel Portsmouth have got the ability to beat this Hull side, but I feel like Hull are just going to be too strong. They've got too much flair going forward for me, and I think it's going to end up being a comfortable victory for the Tigers, heaping a bit more misery on those Pompey fans. I'm going to go for Hull City 3, Portsmouth 1. Leeds United versus Plymouth Argyle. Two sides coming off draws at the weekend, but two sides coming off vastly different draws. Leeds had a 0-0 draw at Ashton Gate. Not a classic by all accounts. But Plymouth, my goodness, what a game they had. 3-0 down to Preston, came back, roared back, and got a draw. But again, we have to just highlight life at Home Park is pretty good at the moment. Life away from Home Park is pretty terrible at the moment, and things don't get much tougher than going to Elland Road. But I think that this Plymouth side is going to make this Leeds side sweat in this game, and they're going to force the best out of this Leeds side, and I think we are going to get a high-scoring contest. I think we're going to get a bit of a battle in Yorkshire here, and ultimately Leeds are going to come through, but I do think it's going to be a high-scoring, entertaining game. A victory for the Whites, though, leaving Plymouth again with another defeat on the road. Leeds United 4, Plymouth Argyle 2. Middlesbrough versus Coventry City is next up, and I actually got a Middlesbrough scoreline correct, which is amazing for me, but I don't expect that to carry on. But that 3-3 draw definitely would have felt like a defeat from a Middlesbrough point of view, dominating the game, missing a penalty, and ultimately throwing away what seemed like a pretty cut and dry 3 points at Carrow Road. So they'll be looking for a response against a Coventry side who themselves breathed a little bit of fire and life into their season with that comeback victory over Luton Town. Not the first time Haji Wright painfully brings back some painful memories for me, but not the first time Haji Wright scores in the last seconds of a game to get Coventry a 3-2 win. And those Coventry fans will be desperate that this has got to be the start of something now. It's got to be the start of progress and getting a run of consistent results together. But this is going to be a really tough game. This championship doesn't give you many opportunities to have a few easy games to get those wins on the board. Everything is hard earned, and it certainly will be up at the Riverside. But I am ultimately backing Middlesbrough, and the reason I'm doing this is because I secretly want Coventry to win. And so whatever I back Middlesbrough to do, they tend to do the opposite. So I am going to be backing Borough, hoping that the Sky Blues get the job done. You see what I do? I can't hedge my bets any more than that, can I, folks? Let's go for a narrow win. Middlesbrough 1, Coventry 0. Preston North End versus Bristol City. Again, two sides vastly different draws from the weekend. Preston, that would have felt like a loss, wouldn't it? How did you capitulate to that Plymouth side and throw away a 3-goal lead? Being 3-0 up in the Championship seems like rare as hen's teeth, and to come away with only a point, yikes, that is pretty tough to take. But again, the fact that they're scoring goals, the fact that they're picking up points does highlight that this side has turned a corner massively under Heckingbottom. Bristol City are also a very hard side to beat. They got that draw against Leeds United. Getting any points against Leeds this season is going to be a good one. So that's a feather in the cap to Manning's side. And good to see Manning back in the dugout as well. And I think this one's going to end up in a draw. I think Bristol City are just a tough side to beat. They don't lose too many games, and I feel this one's going to be an entertaining one up at Deepdale. I'm going to go for Preston 2, Bristol City 2. Queen's Park Rangers versus Sunderland. Look, here's some footage of the game between Sunderland and Oxford. Yes, you can see Oxford in the general Zod role. This pretty much sums up what happened. You can see that S on this chest. It doesn't stand for Superman. It stands for Sunderland. And of course, I'm going to be backing the Black Cats in this game after a QPR side who are looking terrible this season. But I do warn you, Sunderland fans, that my predictions record is so bad that you do not really want me predicting these games. The last week where you took 9 from 9, I predicted a draw, and obviously, comically, a loss against Oxford, and you picked up 9 points. So now what should worry you the most is the fact that I'm going to start backing your side, because I am. Of course I am. Nobody really wants to take a trip to Shepherd's Bush on a weekend, but it will be worth it and get out of the capital with 3 points. QPR 0, Sunderland 2. Sheffield Wednesday versus Watford. My goodness, what a goal from Michael Smith to win that game at Portsmouth at Fratton Park. It seems a long time ago now, but what a victory for Sheffield Wednesday. This Danny Roll side is picking up some fantastic results on the road, and they just never seem to be able to string a run of games together. They're coming up against the Hornets side, who got a very good victory themselves in a 1-0 win over Blackburn Rovers. But it is, again, highlighting this championship season where sides' home form is so much better than their away form, and they are red hot at Vicarage Road, but not so great when they are on their travels. And you just have to think, I consistently back Sheffield Wednesday again, and they never seem to do the job for me, so this is probably going to be one where you could bank on Watford to win, but I am going to be backing the Owls. I think they're going to edge this one out. I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday 2, Watford 1. And finally, on Sunday, we go back to London for Millwall versus Burnley. Nothing really ever seems to be easy for Burnley at the moment. Every game seems to be low scoring and tight. Probably very frustrating for their fans and for Scott Parker. But they're still doing well at the top of the table, despite Sunderland kind of pulling away from everybody. And this won't be an easy game down at the New Den. Millwall have done well so far this season under Neil Harris, picking up some good results, picking up a good win again away from home at the weekend. And they'll be thinking that they can get a victory over this Burnley side. But I just think the Clarets are going to nick it. Not going to be much in the game. I'm going to go for a narrow win for Burnley. It's going to be Millwall 0, Burnley 1. And that is it for week number 13. Unlucky for some, but hopefully, particularly for Oxford United, let's hope it is lucky. Those are my scorelines, folks. As always, you should take them to the bank because When do I ever get anything wrong? Thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. If you can hit that like button, that helps me out a lot. And if you do like the content, then consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be back to do a review of Oxford United's victory over Swansea at the weekend. Again, fingers crossed. And other than that, I'll be back to do another mad week where we have 3 games in a week. So there'll be predictions videos and review videos flying at you all over the place. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.
My work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?